Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Become a member to the channel. Most importantly, it's the weekend. Leave that donation for that fried rice and chicken wings. When are people going to leave Terence Crawford, 3-time undisputed, soon to be 4-time if he can get in there and do the business with Janibek Alimkhanuly? But what I will say is sometimes, no matter how passionate these fighters are about going out here and doing great things, sometimes you got to hold your horses and not take it to the stupid. Now, the stage has been set for Terence Crawford to do the business, man. And what I think is Crawford's boldest move yet. He ain't getting any younger. He's somewhere, under the rainbow. He ain't over it because my boy pushing 40. Crawford out here, man, he mess around and get sick. He get that handyman virus, you know what I'm saying? And now he gonna get in the ring with a killer. Shit, Crawford's decision to call out Janibek Alimkhanuly. Alimkhanuly just sound like I'm casting a spell on your ass, right? Janibek Alimkhanuly. It's like Cardi B's first name and shit. But one of the boldest moves in modern boxing, man, to shred 8 pounds of functional mass, muscle, and drop down from 168 to 160 to try to do the business against a killer like Janibek Alimkhanuly, kind of like how he did against Canelo and what he did to Earl Spence and Madrimov. But we know Crawford's already conquered 3 divisions. We know what he's done at, from 135, 140, 147, 150, 154, undisputed, and 140, 147, and 168. You know what I'm saying? You got to give him respect. The man's become undisputed 3 times, world champion in the other five weight classes. It's just amazing. But by targeting Janibek, he's aiming for unprecedented. Now, this is my thing. An unprecedented 4th undisputed distinction. 6 weight divisions. Let me tell you something. Crawford will be one of the rare few fighters. He may be the only one who to go out here and become undisputed in 4 weight classes. Absolutely crazy, man. But anyway, you take a look at Crawford, man, at 38, doing the business in the ring. You just got to put some respect on his name. You know what I'm saying? He don't have nothing left to prove. But you can just see that he still wants challenges. And I'd want them challenges too if you're going to be going into a fight and possibly making $100 million. If Crawford was going after something different, just another fight, I don't think the money would be there. But I know he's going to probably take a stay busy fight. Doesn't mean he's fighting a soft touch. Going to take a stay busy fight early next year, then he'll probably go right into a fight with Janibek Alimkhanuly. Now, I feel that's going to happen because Alimkhanuly told Crawford, don't worry. I'll fight and clean out the division, and then you and I can meet up. Now, things can always change, but as of right now, it sounds like that's the direction Janibek wants it to go. We haven't heard from Turki Al-Sheikh or Crawford, but he is saying that he wants Janibek, and he's looking to return early 2026. But I just think Crawford, he's not just about being great anymore. Like Crawford's realized, you know what? I'm great. He realized, it's finally, if it hadn't sunk in, it's sunk in now. And he no longer wants to be great. Crawford wants to be legendary. And I just think to do that, he knows he's got to go out there and target and clip the guy that everybody's been avoiding. You know what I'm saying? For him to go out here and add that middleweight, it's not just a middleweight title, that middleweight undisputed distinction to his collection is just going to be something unheard of. You know what I'm saying? And you got to put respect on his name if you haven't. But even beyond the numbers, this, to me, represents something deeper. This is the ultimate fighter's fight. Crawford doesn't need to fight Janibek for money. Crawford is out here cha-ching, ching, Wu-Tang cream, dollar bill yawling on everybody right now. So what this fight does is not about his bank account. It's about proving his heart, his willingness to take the most dangerous opponents, even when there's little financial upside and massive physical risk. But for Janibek, I do think Crawford will probably get that 9-figure payday, especially if he can come back in a stay busy fight and do the business. I can't see Crawford going to fight for a fourth undisputed distinction, being Turki Al-Sheikh's favorite fighter. I can't see him going into that fight in Turkey saying, I'll just give you $50 million. Nah, he got $75 million for Canelo. We know Canelo brings money. He brings views. We know Canelo is the cash cow. Viva, Mexico, CABRONES. But Crawford did the business, so right now we should be shouting, Viva el NEGRO, CABRONES. So pay that man his money. Now, Janibek Alimkhanuly is not a household name in the U.S., but amongst hardcore boxing fans, he's known as the boogeyman of the middleweight division and one of those guys, pound for pound, that you just don't want to piss off. Comes from Kazakhstan. If you guys know anything about Kazakhstan and boxing, you can't help but think about Gennady Golovkin, Triple G. Golovkin and Alimkhanuly, pretty similar. They beat you up. And there's something special about those hands. When them fighters get hit by those guys, boy, their body language changes. They turn into that feet don't fail me now. Betty, Betty, Betty. And they try to fly their ass up out the ring. All I'm saying is this, man. Janibek, like Triple G, like what Triple G did, Janibek for his country is representing a new generation of Eastern European fighters who combine old school toughness with elite amateur fundamentals. That's what makes them difficult. The man's got fundamentals. He's got skills. But he's got that rawness. He got that dog. He's looking for the brawl, brouhaha. He will bing you. Former Olympian, deep amateur background. This shit matters. You hear Roy Jones talking about it. These guys now, yeah, man, you know, what do you say? You hear me? You hear me? They don't have that amateur pedigree. You hear me? They don't go to the Olympics. They don't go through all the wickets like what we did. You hear me? You understand me? You understand me? Like, Roy, we understand you, man. Deep amateur background. World championship gold medal. He got that kind of style that blends sharp, southpaw angles, vicious counterpunches, and level of composure that breaks opponents mentally before it breaks them physically. He is a problem. Fighters like Janibek are raised in that combat culture where toughness, pride, and discipline are not optional but expected. Now, they had that MMA fighter, Khabib Nurmagomedov, I don't want to butcher his name. Khabib, I'll just call him that. He's another one. He ain't from Kazakhstan, but kind of grew up in that culture, fight culture, tough culture. You know what I'm saying? With a whole lot of religion as well. And I just think when you understand a guy like Janibek who's been molded in really cold gyms, very hard, vicious sparring, and national teams where only the elite survive, you got to understand that this is danger that Crawford is walking into. But the thing with Crawford, he ain't just walking into it. He's moonwalking into the shit. Because Crawford feels he's Michael Jackson bad. Crawford ain't playing around. He don't give a shit. But things get serious, man. Him calling out Janibek is just one of those risks most fighters wouldn't take. That's why Crawford gets a whole lot of respect. You know? People talking about, well, you know, Crawford was a small welterweight. He doesn't stand a chance. What we've learned from the Canelo fight is Crawford was always a damn super middleweight. He just disciplined himself to melt all the way down to the lower weight classes. So as far as Crawford being a man who started at 135 pounds, going up against Janibek, a full-fledged middleweight with a strong fame, natural power, and elite timing, fight could be interesting. Because most people say Canelo was just a blown-up super middleweight. Canelo didn't want to cut weight anymore. He wanted to be somewhere he was comfortable. He was able to evolve a style that suited him and allowed him to dominate at 168. Janibek, although he's at 160, he's a true 160-pounder. I ain't sure what he's cutting down from to get to 160. But Janibek is stronger than Canelo. He got longer arms than Canelo. He's got more power than Canelo. Janibek is, I think, more durable than Canelo. I'm talking about Canelo right now because Canelo's been through so much. But Janibek is a problem. But one thing I'll say is, unlike Canelo or Spence, Janibek right now, for Terence Crawford, Janibek has no glaring weaknesses. You can sit there and put Terence Crawford up against Janibek and do a tail of the tape. You ain't going to find shit that Crawford has over Janibek except maybe IQ experience. But everything else, they're pretty evenly matched, so Janibek may edge him out. You know what I'm saying? You just got to understand, he's not physically diminished. Janibek is in his prime. So if Crawford can get down there and somehow fumble his way to a fight with Janibek and they fight for undisputed, You got, you know, you might Turki Al-Sheikh might as well buy Crawford a goddamn mansion in Saudi Arabia. Like, you got to come up with something. You got to come up with something huge because this is a pretty damn big deal what Crawford's doing. And it'd be an amazing run. And he's having at the end of his career when he's an old pop. But for Crawford, I just think he and Bomac and the team got to be aware of what they're getting into because Janibek has a combination of sharp punching, natural strength. Remember, natural shit. This ain't nothing manufactured. He's just out there eating bread and cheese and drinking goat milk and shit. Like, he's the real deal, man. But that sharp punching combinations, man, the power can make the fight. This, I think, is the most dangerous fight of Crawford's career. But they've always said that about Crawford and the opponents he was fighting. And remember, Janibek doesn't come forward reckless. He's not just a pressure guy who's just throwing a bunch of punches. He's not like that. He waits, he sets traps, and he fires precise counters. You know, against someone like Crawford, who is going to be smaller, one mistake could be disastrous. But it's kind of hard to go against Terence Crawford because of him doing the business. So people are like, okay, well, if this guy's been avoided, why the hell is Crawford fighting him? I'm going to tell you, you know, because he's a killer, but he's not a draw. You see, when you got someone who can destroy you, but it's not a draw, the risk ain't worth the reward. And that's why when you take a look at Janibek, Demetrius Andre, Jaime Munguia, Chris Eubank Jr., all these guys avoided him. For years, he's been getting avoided. And that's why the boxing world started paying attention, saying, yo, what's the deal with Janibek? And then when Crawford's like, I'll fight him, they're like, are you serious? Crawford? Lil Bud? Hold your horses and let's not take it to the stupid. You may get killed. KILL-ID. Leave Janibek alone. But anyway, man, Crawford ain't here to play around. Just him mentioning his name just tell you that Crawford's something different. He ain't chasing fame. That man chasing immortality, man. And if this fight happens, it's going to be monumental for boxing fans, but especially for Crawford and Janibek. If Crawford wins, dude's out of here. If Janibek wins, he's on the map, big time, because Crawford is the man right now. But when you look at the styles, technically, this matchup is fascinating. Crawford is one of the most complete fighters. He may be, well, it's hard to say that because you got Usyk still getting busy. But definitely one of the most complete fighters of this generation. Switch hitting, counter punching, defensive, mean, calculating. Crawford can do it all. But he's also used to controlling the ring physically as well as tactically. Against Janibek, he'll be the smaller man for the first time in years. You think about Crawford, you know, what weapons he brings to the ring. Well, he brings weapons of mass destruction, but they're pretty simple. Timing, sharp counters, and adaptability. And all that's going to be tested against a southpaw who can do many of the same things. Janibek throws his left hand like a whip, cuts angles beautifully, and he doesn't waste energy. If Crawford tries to brawl, he'll be walked down. If he tries to outbox, he'll have to stay flawless for 12 rounds against a naturally bigger and stronger opponent. So, just trying to understand the psychology behind the call-out, I don't think it's about arrogance from Crawford. I think it's about the challenge. I think it's about what Turki Al-Sheikh also envisions for Riyadh season. He wants drama. He doesn't want dominance. Because Crawford's already proved his greatness. But, you know, mentally, fighters like Crawford, they thrive on pressure. They need mountains to climb. And Janibek is no kidding the next mountain for Crawford. But psychologically, this shit's also very dangerous, you know. Very perilous. Because Janibek has nothing to lose and everything to gain. While Crawford has everything to lose and very little to gain from a marketing standpoint. So if Crawford loses, critics will say he got old or too ambitious, but he'll still have respect on his name. If he wins, they'll say Janibek was unproven, which is unfortunate. But Crawford knows legacy isn't built on opinions, it's built on risk. And that's why Crawford gets a whole lot of respect from everybody, you know what I'm saying? Now, what does a win do for Crawford's legacy? He just becomes immortal. I think Crawford will go up to fight heavyweight and they'll be afraid to fight him because you just keep seeing someone figure out a way to win. They're going to be like, man, I don't want to fight him. You know what I'm saying? Talking about a fighter who's probably going to retire as one of the 10 greatest ever. You know, so you just got to put some respect on that. And he'll be the first man to go undisputed in four weight divisions. Unheard of. Probably the most accomplished male fighter since Sugar Ray Robinson. And then for Janibek, it's a chance of a lifetime, you know what I'm saying? Gets an opportunity to do the business. If he defeats Crawford, he becomes a global star. You know, in Kazakhstan, they're going to celebrate him. But that whole fighting scene out there is going to explode in pride. It's going to explode with attention. And Janibek will finally get the attention that he's been denied, you know. But it would also validate the idea of new generation of Eastern European fighters can dethrone the elite Americans. Paulie Malignaggi been saying this shit for years. He got himself in trouble because most people just felt because Paulie's Italian, they just felt it was the white man trying to hold a brother down. But now we're seeing that, you know, maybe Paulie was speaking the goddamn truth because them Eastern European fighters are out here and have been doing the business. But one thing about Janibek, his identity is built around patience. He's been waiting for a chance like this. And I'm telling you, we may be out here shouting Viva Kazakhstan Cabrones instead of El Negro, because we sure as hell ain't shouting Mexico no more. We'll see why Janibek's been avoided for so long if he can get in there and do the business against Crawford. So the bottom line, what you got here, champions' hearts, you know. At its core, Crawford, Alimkhanuly, like I said, it's not about belts, it's about legacy, risk, about respect. It's about one fighter daring to step into danger when others would run from it. Crawford's call-out proves why he's more than a champion. He's a fighter. Hell of a fighter. Like Floyd Mayweather would say. And Janibek, he represents everything that's missing in boxing today. Humility, danger, hunger. If these two meets, fans, you're going to witness something special. Not just a fight, but a clash between the proven Terence Crawford and the feared Janibek Alimkhanuly. In the end, no matter who wins, this matchup is going to elevate boxing, remind everyone what greatness truly looks like when ego meets excellence. And that's how I see it. Y'all keep cool. Viva El Negro. Viva Kazakhstan. CABRONES. Yo, I'm in the breeze.